kick off the match predictions with that game then. Huge game, as we say. Arsenal with the home advantage. Do you think that is significant?
Yeah, you would say that in a derby because it's loud, real loud. So I'm going to say Arsenal advantage. Looking at and thinking of the players that have been away, I would say Arsenal. Arsenal have a bigger advantage, having travelled less, probably possibly played less. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say Arsenal in that aspect. So I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
3 o'clocks, we have 5 of them. We'll start with Bournemouth at home to Brentford. Important run for Bournemouth now, isn't it? Still, it looks like Gary O'Neill's going to get a little bit longer in charge.
He would have had opportunities to implement different things over the break, which would be good for him and them. Ivan Toney will be coming back. Even though he didn't play, he'll still be confident that he's been selected for England. Slightly disappointed, but he'll definitely be confident off the back of that. Hard to predict who wins this. I'm going to say Brentford. Don't know why. I'm going to say Brentford 2-0.
Just quickly on Ivan Toney while we're on him. Southgate obviously didn't play him, but he kind of said that he can still force his way into that World Cup squad with his form. Do you think that if he does carry on his goal scoring form, do you expect him to go to Qatar?
I think it's hard for him. I think it's probably hard, even if he does continue his form, because I think if Marcus Rashford was fit, I think he goes in the squad ahead of him. And I think there was 28 selected, and I think there's only 26 places available. So 2 have got to be left out, I should say. So, yeah, I think it's never a harmful time to be in the form he's in. But I just feel that if other players are in a better form with more experience, I think they go ahead of him.
Well, he's done well to give himself a chance, hasn't he?
Yeah, 100%.
Crystal Palace host Chelsea. This will be Graham Potter's first Premier League game. He's had to wait a lot longer than he would have expected, obviously with the passing of Queen Elizabeth and the international break as well. But I guess that's probably given him a bit more time to get his head around his starting 11. And he did have that Champions League game, the draw with Salzburg. So, yeah, he'd be wanting to start with a win, won't he?
Oh, of course. He won only one. And it's different now because it isn't just a once, there's a have to. So that'll be a different level of pressure that he's used to. I'm sure he's anticipated that. But, yeah, like the circumstances, while they haven't played a Premier League game, aren't great, but I'm sure he's looked at the positives and said, I'll get more training time. But then an international break comes, and I'm guessing 90% of Chelsea's players are international. So how many players do you had to work with? So, yeah, this game will be difficult because arguably Palace are as good as anyone on the counter-attack with the wingers and the players they have and their style they enjoy and are comfortable playing. But tough test. I'm going to say Chelsea 2-1.
Fulham host Newcastle. Newcastle, we seem to talk about them being impressive every week, but the results haven't quite mirrored up to that just yet. A lot of draws, and they drew with Bournemouth last time out, drew with Palace before that, 2 home draws. They now go away to a Fulham side. They're actually sitting in 6th place. They've only lost to Tottenham and Arsenal so far this season. It's a tough trip for Newcastle, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And these, again, if they want to be challenging for European status, again, the greatest respect to Fulham. They need to be beating Fulham. Again, I think the home games will take care of themselves. I think they'll perform and make it hard for teams to come there. But away from home, they need to start winning at teams they're expected to win. Like the good performances, I think, have come in or against top teams, which again, you could say it's slightly easier to perform against them due to you being up for it a little bit more. But again, there's real pressure on when you're expected to win. So I think this is a game they would have looked at and thought, yeah, newly promoted team, regardless of where they are in the league, you should be looking to beat them in the greatest respect. But Fulham, I like them. I really like watching them. I think they're a good team. They play in the right way. They play to win every game, which may help Newcastle and leave them a bit more exposed at the back. But yeah, I think I think this will be a tough game, and I'm going to go with Fulham. I don't think it's just form. I think they have a great understanding now of how they are expected and what they expect from each other. So I'm going to go 3-1 Fulham.
Liverpool host Brighton at Anfield. Really great start for Brighton this season, but then obviously losing their manager, Graham Potter. Roberto De Zerbi's first game. It's a bit of a free hit for him, I suppose, going to Anfield, and an important one for Liverpool to win. They don't want to lose any more ground, do they?
No, they can't afford to lose much more against the teams at the top. But I wouldn't say it's a free hit because we've seen managers get the sack off the back of this result. So I think he's going to need to be cautious. Yeah, he's going to want to implement his style and want to play a certain way and hopefully get a result. But I think when you have to show Liverpool, the top teams, a lot more respect than you would show other teams, and not get caught up in it being your first game and wanting to showcase what you're looking to do in the future. I think you take this game in isolation and say, we need to be hard to beat here because you can get punished. We've seen teams that happen to teams, and it doesn't bode well for coming games. All of a sudden, then your philosophy goes out the window, because how do you then approach the next game? And you can't just write this result off if it's so bad, because it affects the players mentally.
Scoreline for that one then, Liverpool-Brighton?
I'm going to say 3-0 Liverpool.
Southampton host Everton in the final 3 o'clock. Back-to-back losses for Southampton, but suddenly things looking a little bit rosier at Everton. They got that hard-earned 1-0 victory over West Ham, and suddenly the 4 draws beforehand, you're talking more about a 5-game unbeaten streak than a run without a win, and they'll be feeling more confident, won't they?
No, 100%. I think they were very pleased with how the window finished for them, transfer-wise. Drissa Gueye is a huge acquisition. I think the energy they have in midfield now could be unmatched. They're all comfortable in possession, but the way they are able to regain the ball and put pressure on opposition, I think will be a rude awakening for a lot of teams of how they can win the ball better now. So yeah, they're in a good place. Like you said, that win was huge before the international break. But Southampton's just so inconsistency with results to performances. For me, it's mad. It's so hard to predict what they're going to play like and how they're going to perform week to week. Again, it'll be a high energy game. I expect that to be the case because the way Southampton play. I'm going to say Everton win this game. I'm going to say 1-0.
Huge game at 5:30. West Ham host Wolves. 17th versus 18th. The two leagues' 2 lowest scorers, both only managed 3 goals each between them. Pressure mounting on both managers. It's just a massive game, isn't it? Even this early in the season.
Oh yeah, huge game. I think if there's a negative result and performance from either team, I think that heightens the pressure of the manager. I think if one team loses and are unlucky, I think it will be deemed okay because you're unlucky or you've kind of give as good as you've got, whatever. But if one team's dominant in this performance and gets the result, I think that adds to the pressure. So slightly nervous for Moyes, having worked with him and knowing him, but also for Bruno due to it being Wolves. I'm going to say if Costa plays, I'm going to say Wolves. I'm going to go with Wolves. No, I'm not actually, because Collins is out and I don't know if they have any experience back there now with Cody gone. So I'm going to change that. I haven't thought about what that looks like. Going to go West Ham. Going to go West Ham win this game 2-0. And that's due to Wolves is not having their strongest defence out, and I don't know the level of replacement. I don't know the level of experience, so it could be a tough one.
Whoever is going to have a physical test as well, aren't they, against Antonio as well? So it's
yeah, tough test.
Tough. Okay, so 2 games on Sunday and a bit of Monday night football to round us off then. Starting with the Manchester derby at 2 o'clock. We've discussed the different elements of how it might go down. Ultimately, how do you see this going? City strong favourites.
Favourites, yeah. I was strong. I don't know because I just feel it's a derby, so you just can't just write off the other team. But I expect City to play the way they play and dominate the way they have done and do in the past. Not just this game, but any game really. Listen, I'm going to say City win. Is it going to be a super comfortable result? You would say no, because Man United are in a better place. So say the result could be 2-0, 2-1, say 2-0. But I think the performance could be good. I think it could be a comfortable one. I think it was at Old Trafford last season, or it was 2-0. But it was so comfortable. It was like, I don't even think they made a sub. I'm thinking if you don't have to make a sub in a derby, like you are very comfortable. You know what I mean? If you don't need to change anything, everything's just smooth and it's as gone as predicted in your prep for the game, then yeah, you are really comfortable. And I can see that kind of happening, not to the level of not making a change, but I can just see it happening the way Pep anticipates it.
And at 4:30 on Sunday, Leeds host Aston Villa. Leeds made a quick start this season, but recent results have not been as impressive. The opposite for Villa, I suppose. They made a really poor start, but then that point against City seemed to spur them into life. They grinded out a result against Southampton. Both teams kind of at a crossroads now, coming back from the international break. What do you think?
Yeah, tough to call this. Ellen Road factor could help. I think similar to Villa Park, they rely on the atmosphere to galvanise the team and get results. If I'm looking, if I'm going to say heart, I would say Villa 2-1. If I go with my head, I would say a 1-1 draw. So I'll probably go head 1-1.
Then on Monday night, Brendan Rodgers, he's still in a job. He's survived the international break and is Leicester sider at home to Nottingham Forest. Rivalry, obviously. We saw Forest knock Leicester out of the cup in front of a raucous City ground last year. They'll be really up for causing Leicester more problems, won't they? But home advantage is time for the Foxes. So needs a result, Rodgers, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely needs a result. Because performances have been okay. There's been periods where it's just gone totally wrong and they've conceded goals. But I think this is the breaking point. I think if he loses that could be the end. Like, as much as they potentially look at Spurs and say, we could lose that, you don't expect to lose 6-2, but there's no circumstance that they look at and say, we should be losing to Nottingham Forest. Obviously derby, but no. Established Premier League team, former Premier League winners as a club. So top players in their team, internationals. So yeah, he'll have to win this. Tough for Forest. Again, a lot of changes, players out injured and stuff. So I see Leicester winning this game because when you're hearing the players speak about performances, they're still definitely behind Brendan Rodgers, and some elements of their performances have been unlucky. So I see them trying and giving maximum effort. So I'm going to say 2-0 Leicester.